for the presentation. Добро утро на най-ранобудните. Благодаря ви, че отделяте от времето си за тази презентация. Както може би повечето от вас знаят, Италия става все по-атрактивна дестинация за българските студенти и в отговор на интереса, който ние виждаме през последните години, започнахме да организираме 2 пъти в годината Study in Italy събитието. Вече 12-та година се провежда това събитие, като със съжаление, поради пандемичната обстановка преди всичко, последните 2 години го правиме онлайн, под формата на Zoom презентации. Аз се казвам Димитър Александров и съм представител на Агенция за образование в чужбина SkyMoney. Ние се специализирахме последните 12 години в това да помагаме на българските студенти да се ориентират в полето на висше образование в Италия, като нашата роля е не само да организираме такъв тип събития, но също така и да помагаме на студентите в целият процес по откриване на най-подходящото учебно заведение, подходяща програма, оформяне на документите за кандидатстване. При успешен прием помагаме в процеса по намиране на квартири, помагаме в процеса по оформяне на документите за определяне на таксата за обучение, но всичките тези неща Джорджия ще ви разкаже. Също така има възможности за стипендии. Наша роля е да помагаме на студентите в целият този процес, който в Италия, за добро или за лошо, е малко по-бюрократичен, отколкото в другите държави. Но хубавото е, че италианците вярват, че всеки има право на достъп до висше образование, т.е. таксите или доходите таксите се определят съобразно доходите на семейството и всеки има право на достъп до висше образование. Затова ще разберете малко повече от моята колега Джорджия Бичели. Всъщност, програмата на презентацията можете да намерите в сайта Study in Italy, в секцията изложение, там има програма. И обръщам внимание на тези от вас, които не могат да намерят даден линк или имат някой приятел, който иска да се присъедини. Всъщност самата програма е с активни линкове и всеки, който иска, може да се присъедини към всяка една от презентациите през въпросните активни линкове. Всъщност наши партньори в това събитие е и Италианската търговска камера, но нейният председател, госпожа Роза Кузмано, която трябваше да се присъедини към откриващата сесия, в момента, доколкото разбираме, има някакви технически проблеми, така че може би ще се присъедини малко по-късно. Ще дам възможност на Джорджия Бичели, която е представител на Lingua Viva, и на Емануеле, който представлява същата образователна институция, само че в Флоренция, да разкажат малко повече за образователната система и за възможностите, които се разкриват в тази чудесна страна. Georgia, it's your stage now. Georgia, you should unmute yourself.
Yes, I have unmuted. Good morning, buongiorno a tutti. Good morning, everybody. I would like to thank Skyline for this opportunity that is given to us from Lingua Viva to do a presentation on studying in Italy. What I'm doing now is some general introductory remarks to Italian universities, because then you will have the great opportunity to assist to all the presentation of the universities that have been invited in this Study in Italy days. And then on Sunday, as I start and I close. So on Sunday, we close with another presentation always run by Lingua Viva, in which we will talk in more details about the admission test to the various faculties of Italian universities. As I said, I would like to thank Skylines for the opportunity. We welcome a lot of students in our schools from Skylines that study with us and start their journey to Italian university with the help of Skylines and preparing themselves to the exams with the courses that we offer at Lingua Viva. So planning to study at an Italian university is always it's like planning a journey. So it is always important to know what you want to study, to research. So today it's the great occasion to do this, to do the first step, to research what you would like to study, what you would like to, where you would like to be, in which city, what attracts you about Italy. We are here because we have experience in this area for over 30 years. Lingua Viva has been preparing international students to university admission tests, and we've gained, how can I say, an expertise in this area. I am, okay, so we will start with this, with some reasons to study in Italy. I think all the universities will tell you that there are always good reasons to study in Italy, apart from the fact that it is a beautiful country, a land of culture. There are special links between, or even historical links between Italy and Bulgaria. But apart from for cultural reason, Italy offers a high level of education, university education, both in the bachelor and in the Master of Science, and PhD and research. So the level of education is very high, and an Italian degree is a European degree anyway, which allows you to specialize and practice all around Europe and also outside Europe. Italy has a number of very reputable universities. Think that one of the first universities, if not the first university in Europe, is Università di Bologna. And Università di Padua is also a university with 800 years of history. So there is an ancient tradition, we would say a 10th century tradition of university studies in Italy. Of course, the university studies in the Middle Ages were a little bit different from today, but there is an ancient tradition to this kind of higher education. Reputable universities, reputable areas of studies are architecture, design, engineering, medicine, economics, fine arts, and music. But do not underestimate studying science in Italian universities, because there are excellent faculties for science. For example, physics at La Sapienza di Roma, where recently we had also a Nobel Prize winner for his theory on organized chaos. So, and not only one Nobel Prize winner was Italian. So there are several women and men scientists in Italy that have done a very reputable career. Universities and academic studies offer a very wide range of undergraduate and postgraduate courses. It is amazing the offer of courses that you have in Italy, both in Italian and English. Believe me, there are more than 300 courses between bachelor and master's offered in English at Italian universities as well. So a wide range of degree courses, of undergraduate courses, graduate courses that to choose from. Another important issue in choosing university is, of course, the standing of the university. So you know that there are international rankings. So there is the QS, the Times Higher Education, there is Jiaotong, Arwu. There are several international rankings in which, according to the department of your studies, then the various universities are ranked, and these rankings are published every year. So consider that practically half of the Italian universities are in the top 500 universities in the world. So they're all ranked internationally, and many are in the top 100 and many are in the top 10. So, and some are number one, like classic studies, La Sapienza in Rome is number one. It alternates with Cambridge or Oxford. This is just one area. So good universities, good level of education, reputable universities with a great tradition, wide range of academic studies, and all in and among the best universities in the world, because they all rank internationally very high. One other aspect, which is also very important in choosing university, is the financial aspect. So all of this makes Italy interesting, also because education in Italy is affordable. Maybe it's affordable because compared to other university systems, the tuition fees are relatively inexpensive. And compared to other European countries, in Italy prevails the right to study. So you have access to financial aid and scholarship, just like any Italian student. We will see that later. I have a short slide on this, how to do it. But today, when you go through the various presentation of the university, I suppose they will talk to you also about this aspect. So there is financial aid, there are scholarships, there are even grants for some difficult situation. There are also merit scholarship if you're a particularly brilliant student. And last but not least, and I was reading through this before we started this seminar, there is also a range of European funding for academic studies, which is less known, but per country, also the European Union offers funding to students. During your career, you can also apply to work at university for 150 hours. And this is a way also of funding your studies. So many opportunities there. And from an educational point of view, Italy is a great study opportunity. And as I said at the beginning, also the culture. I mean, you live in beautiful cities, amazing country with so much to see, so much to experience. And of course, I think it is a great experience to study in Italy for your university. Here, it's an overview of the university. And as I said, Italy offers a wide range of university. You have 61 public university, 30 private university, 11 public research organizations, 45 Academy of Fine Arts, 77 music conservatories, more than 200 degree courses, graduate and undergraduate in English. So these are, you know, this gives you the range, the vastness of the educational opportunities. Practically in Italy, there is a university in every city. Now, in this map, we have just noted the most important ones. So many universities are missing. We have noted the university where most students go to. But if I take an example, just a simple example of a city of Milano, and we do a list of the universities that are here, you will see that there are three state universities, Statale, Politecnico, Milano Bicocca. There is two very reputable private universities, Bocconi for economics, Cattolica for a wide range of humanities studies and also economic studies, Ulm for communication. So you have already three private bachelor degree universities. And then you have State Academy of Fine Arts, the Music Conservatory. You have private universities such as NABA, Marangoni, ID, NABA, ID, you will see today. So only out of one city, you see that there are like 8 different universities present in one city. If we go to Rome, there are 3 state universities.
Georgia, excuse me. I would like to make an announcement here because probably quite a lot of people know each other. There is a technical problem with the first presentation, with the link of the first presentation. That's why I don't see many people joining in.
Okay.
Well, just to say the people that there is well, I will explain this in Bulgarian.
Yes, please.
So if they have some friends and are asking them how to join, I will explain the problem in Bulgarian. Здравейте, доколкото разбираме, има технически проблем за доста от хората, тъй като ни се обаждат по телефона, да се присъединят към първата презентация. Проблема е само с първата презентация, тъй като в табличката, която сме ви изпратили, тя е екселска таблица, по наша грешка е оставено разстояние между табличката и линка на първата презентация. И това създава проблеми на голяма част от хората да се присъединят към презентацията. Така че ако имате приятели, които искат да се присъединят и не могат, да им кажете за това нещо, ние сега ще изпратим на цялата база данни имейл, за да могат хората да разберат къде е проблема. Но тук заваляха доста обаждания в офиса, затова искам да го кажа и на присъстващите. Всички останали презентации нямат това предизвикателство, само първата презентация е с този проблем. Well, Georgia, excuse me, you can continue your presentation. I'm really sorry about it.
Okay, so resume from here. We're discussing about the wide range of universities. So there are various sizes of universities. There are large universities. We call them with more than 40,000 students, like, for example, La Sapienza in Rome, which is one of the biggest in Italy. It's a city, as big as it is. Milano Bicocca, which is a quite big university, the 2 polytechnical universities, Torino and Milano, with a wide range of engineering courses and architecture and urban design are very large campuses. Consider that, for example, Politecnico di Milano is not only in Milano. Politecnico di Milano is a university that has 5 campuses spread throughout the region. So there is Milano, Piacenza, Mantova, Lecco. Also Torino has Torino, but it has also campuses in the Piedmont region. Bologna, the university in Italy, being the first and being one of the most chosen, and Bologna being the university city since centuries, really. Also has the campus in Bologna, but it has expanded in various areas, also because Bologna presents all the departments from medicine, veterinary, humanities, engineering, architecture. Bologna really covers all aspects of studies. Padova also it has a disused campus, a campus which is within the city, and it's a very large university with, last year, I think there were 800 years of history. So a very, very an ancient and very reputable university for medical studies. Then we have Pisa, another university destination, and Pisa is also, for example, for the graduate education, where there are some special school for the very gifted. And a special research institute. There is Normale Superiore di Pisa, which is the university for the very gifted students, and Sant'Anna, which is a research institute for PhD students. So, and this all in the city of Pisa, as well as the public university, Università degli Studi di Pisa. Firenze, as well, a very big university which comprises a lot of departments, a lot of faculties, ranging from architecture to medicine to agricultural science to design. So very, very, very big campuses. And then we have medium-sized universities. So in Rome, Perugia, Genova, Pavia, Venezia, and which are here, of course, in the map. And then we will also have a small size university, which can be the Siena, Camerino, so in small town and small. So the university choice depends really on, of course, what you want to study, where you are admitted, and the type of place where you want to be. This can be also taken into consideration when you choose your university. But remember, there is a wide range of university, a high concentration in the north, also a good concentration in the south. And one more thing I would like to say is not that all the North University are the absolute best and all the South University are the absolute worst. There are excellent universities in the South. Naples Federico II is an excellent university. There is a very famous university for languages, Napoli Orientale, there are only two institutes in Trieste and Naples, which prepare very well if you want to become, for example, a translator. And of course, also in Ca' Foscari, they prepare you. So, and Napoli Orientale with Ca' Foscari and another institute in Trieste are the one where you can learn certain languages like Arabic, Japanese, whatever, and also become an expert, for example, in this sector. There are good campuses even on the islands. Palermo is a good university. Messina has a faculty of medicine in English. Sassari has a good faculty of, for example, of architecture. So as you can see, it is wide. Bari has an amazing Politecnico, so in Puglia, in the south. So there is really a wide range of university to choose from. University ranking. So this is just a general figure, you know, I don't want to go into details, but as you can see, 41, this was taken from 2021. I have not, 41 universities are in the QS University, World QS University ranking. There are universities also in the Times Higher Education and in the Harvard. You see there are different ranking, but then when you go to the university website, they will tell you as well where they rank. But what I want to say is that this measures that there is an international acknowledgement also of the good level of studies that the Italian educational system offers. And so you can have it here, but you can also inquire in more details when you then go to the university website. I always have a page dedicated to the ranking and where they rank best. And here we come to the core. How is the university organized? How is the university education in Italy? So university education in Italy is organized on a European scale. In 1998, there was a big reform. All the higher education academic institutions in Europe, within the European Union, decided to structure the university in the same way. So this should be also in Bulgaria. So you have a bachelor undergraduate of 3 years. Usually you continue with 2 years postgraduate, so we call it laurea biennale o specialistica, in which you technically it's an advanced studies. It's a more specialized and more focused studies on whatever you have studied in your bachelor degree, or you can move with a specializing master of 1 year. Eventually, and then end your studies here, and of course, if you want to continue your research, you can enter from the 2 years. So the bachelor 3 years, 2 years, the master, and then you can continue to specialize further or to pursue an academic career with a PhD or further specialization studies. Depend a little bit on what you want to, or on what you want to do. Then we have in Italy what we call the one cycle degree. So this means that you enter with a high school diploma and then the exit result is a Master of Science. The one cycle degree lasts 5 to 6 years, and usually it is for medicine studies. Medical studies, you have medicine, veterinary, pharmacy studies, architecture, building engineering. So architecture can be a 3+2 system, then it's called architectural science or project. And when it's 5 years is architecture, building engineering, law. Many of these 5-6-year studies are, of course, studies which are linked then to a state exam in order that you then can work or you have to work in a hospital, or you have to work as a lawyer, or you or in the public public law system or whatever. So it's a 6-year, it's a 5 to 6 years degree. The structure 3+2 is a structure which is it's repeated in all types of studies. So also if you study fine arts, if you're in the Academy of Fine Arts, you will have a 3-year bachelor and a 2-year master. If you study music in a conservatory school, it's a 3 years bachelor, so first degree, and a 2-year, the second level degree. So this is the structure, which is similar to all European university studies. So if you study in a 3+2 with a 3+2 system, this means that you can do your architecture, or engineering degree 3 years, and decide to do your specializing master. You could decide to do your specializing master in another European university, for example, if you're of course, if you find the match, or if you find the course that suits you. So this gives you a further opportunity of educational mobility, you know, so you can choose to begin your studies, I don't know, your career in Italy, and then go and specialize, I don't know, in Holland, in Rotterdam, in something else. So this is the possibility. To access the university system in Italy, it takes 12 years of schooling. So, you know, of course, you need to have a high school diploma and a minimum study of 12 years. In Italy, students start, it's 13 years between primary school and the last year of secondary school. So it is 5 years the secondary school, and then you have 5 years primary school, 3 years middle school. So it is quite a long study, and from international students, then it's minimum 12 years of schooling. Here we're talking about something that defines the system of the university credits. University studies are based on a system of credits. We call them CFU, Italian, Crediti Formativi Universitari, which evaluate and measure the workload that you have to do within these years. So the credits are the total of the workload. For each university year, you need to have earned 60 credits, okay? So 1 credit more or less corresponds to 25 hours of studies, and 60 credits is more or less 1,500 hours of studies. This means going to university, attending lectures, self-studies, exams, workshop, labs, and everything. So to complete a 3-year, a first level degree of 3 years, a bachelor, you need 180 credits, so 60 times 3. To add the master degree, the 2 years, you need 120 credits. So at the end of your education, at the end of your Master of Science 2 years, you will have earned approximately 300 credits, which correspond to 5 years of studies. Okay, and this is what you need, for example, and to demonstrate that you have them when you move also to a PhD or to another specializing master. This is also a unit of measure of what you have studied at a higher education institute. One cycle degrees, depending on the length, you will have to end them, you will have earned 300 to 360 credits, depending if it's 5 years or 6 years before you can move on, I don't know, to your specializing area. So the degree courses, the bachelor, the master, are also defined by the number of credits that you earn during the course of study. So 180, so it's what you need to earn for the undergraduate first level, 120 for the second. The one cycle degree is starting from 300. And these credits are a sum of your study, the lectures that you attend, but it can also be gained through Erasmus, through workshop, internships, and this depends when you set up your study plan. Qualifications, this is also important to apply. Now we're talking about the bachelor, so we're talking about the first step, because when we talk about the second step, the master, of course, you need to have a bachelor degree. This is obvious. If you want to access any Italian master, you need to have completed the first part of your university education in Italy. So, but when you want to enter to access the system, so to start with a bachelor degree, you need to have, as I said before, 12 years of schooling, an official final secondary school leaving certificate, so which is your high school diploma. We call it maturità. Most probably you have other names, of course, in Bulgaria. And this qualification must be a qualification that allows you to study at universities in your own country. In the case that your country, I take an example, Turkey, for example, in case there is a need of a national test to access university, you must have passed also this national test. For example, I take the example of Turkey because Turkish students, after they have their high school diploma, they need to take the YKS test in order to access university. Without that, they cannot study. So if this is compulsory in your country, you need to have it also to study at an Italian university. If any of you listening belong instead to one of the system where there are less than 12 years of schooling, so 11 or 10 years of schooling, then the law says that you have to have attended you have to compensate by attending 1 year of university if in the case of 11 years of schooling, if it is 10 years, then 2 years of university. But now there is many universities offer also a foundation year, a preparation, which goes and compensates the missing year. Usually it is more suitable for the students that have 11 years of studies and they need to access with 12, attending a university foundation, they can compensate this year and then move on to study at university. But usually the usual requirement is 12 years of education. Preparing the documents. So when you decide to study at an Italian university, you always need to prepare to have your documents prepared. So what do you need? We've seen the theory, and practically what do you need? You need to have your final secondary study. For bachelor, you need to have your final secondary studies diploma, translated and legalized by the competent authorities in Bulgaria, if Bulgaria is your country. A declaration of value, which is issued also by the diplomatic mission, which says practically it's a declaration that attests, that says that your high school diploma is suitable to for a university attendance. More or less, this is the declaration, and usually is issued by the competent authority. In case you have studied 11 years, so with less than 12 years, you need to also have, in case you don't do a foundation, you need also to have the transcript of all of your university studies with the exams passed, in case you're studying less than 12 years. And in case it is compulsory, in case you have, it's compulsory to take a national test to enter university, you must have proof of that you have taken this test. A certificate or whatever is issued by the country where you come from. Of course, whether you study in Italian or English, eventually a certification of your language competence. Now, in Bulgaria, there are schools. There are some schools with a double curriculum, or where Italian is part of the curriculum. So, with that certification, you would be able to. That would be a proof enough because you have partly studied in Italian. That would be proof enough of your Italian ability. But in this bureaucratical issue, Skylines is of help and can guide you through this process. Something that I say, many students go to international schools, so they have an international baccalaureate, or they have or they're attending international schools which have as high school leaving diploma British qualifications, which can be the A levels, or they go to an American school and the qualification can be APs, or they do the most common choice of the international baccalaureate. So there are some specific requirements foreseen for this kind of secondary school diploma. So it is very important that if you have an American high school diploma or a British qualification or an international baccalaureate, you need to look what are the requirements, because there are requirements of the type of AP, depending on what you want to study, the type of A levels that you have taken, and there is always a minimum of 3, and the type of APs you have, depending on what you want to study. And international baccalaureate, also there you have to have certain number of credits, certain subjects that need to be covered. So this is something that you have to pay attention. How to enroll? Here I don't have a timeline, because as a European Union student, you enroll at a university in the same way Italian students enroll. So depending on what you want to study, depending on the course you're taking, you can enroll. You can have an early enrollment if you're taking certain tests and you're taking them during the year, like the Italian students do. But usually, generally speaking, the enrollment time is between March and July, then depending on the test you are going to take. But you enroll with the same conditions as the Italian students do. So you have to have the high school diploma ready. If you don't have them ready, you enroll conditionally, and you will upload them or send them to the university once you have them, once you finished your high school diploma. Usually enrollment deadlines and procedure must be sourced by the university, so they depend really on what you want to study, and each university has a call to admission, and they will explain there the deadlines and when you have to enroll to the university and when you have to enroll to the admission test. It is an online procedure, so you create your profile on the website of the university. There are all the instructions, what you have to insert. And once you have registered on the university website, you have a number. It's not a matricola, but you have a number. And this number will be used also to pay taxes, the university taxes later, to register for the exams. And once you have selected the Italian or English degree you want to attend at an Italian university, you need to check if it requires an admission test. Most degrees require an admission test. The difference is that there are selective admission tests. So selective means that for a certain degree, there is a certain number of places. So this means that you have to take a test and you have to have a result. You have to obtain a result in order to rank among the best 50, 100, 700, depending on the number of places reserved for that specific degree. Let's take an example. Medicine is one of the top. Now medicine is something different. Let's take architecture, for example. Architecture, for example, has a limited access. So if you want to study architecture in Italian, or for example, at Politecnico di Milano, between all the campuses, there are something like 745 places. Okay, yearly, approximately 1,200, 1,500 students apply. So you must be with your results, among the best 745 in order to access. This is to give you an example. This is a selection which is done. Other tests, it's more an evaluation. So this means that you take the test, usually an online test, and they will evaluate your knowledge, but you can still study, you can still apply to the university. And if in certain areas your knowledge is not up to standard, during the first year, you will have to take extra course and do an exam, pass it, so that the exam that you will be given credit for the courses you've taken, and then you can move on to the second year. Just to give you an example, this depends on the university. There are some universities for engineering where the access is in a way selective. So they set a minimum, that we'll see that better tomorrow, a minimum score, and you have to obtain that kind of score in order to enter. But there are other faculties. I'm thinking of some faculties in the southern part of Italy where, when you study engineering, really they check your math results, and if you don't comply with the minimum standard set, then you can still enroll, you can still study, but you have to take an extra math course. And for example, some faculties like agricultural science, for example, in Florence, it's like this. There is a standard basic math test, at least until last year, and then you had to pass it. There was a minimum score to pass it. If you don't pass it, you will have to take some extra tests. And then instead, there are also faculties where there is a selection. When do the tests take place? This depends on the university, and this is, you have to find out, you have to source this information from the university website and from the call to admission. Some degree courses require a national entry test, and the national entry test means that you need to, a national entry test means that there are limited places, and the test is highly selective. You register on a special website. Medicine is like this. Architecture, not anymore. It's between local and national. It is restricted, but local. We'll see that tomorrow. But medicine, dentistry, vet science, healthcare professional, educational science, they have a special application because it goes through the ministry website. There is a special application time, and it is a highly, especially medicine, is the test, the mother of all tests, a high selection. Like in many countries, it's the hardest test, it's the hardest faculty to get in because the test is very, very competitive and you need to prepare well for it. As you can see, here we have a slide. Degree courses with local selective admission tests like architecture, design, engineering, pharmacy, economics, psychology. So this means that the content of this test is set by the university on a different platform. It can be the university itself. They can delegate a specialized consortium for university examination tests. But the university decides what is the minimum score, what is the content, and how the condition to be admitted, how they will give you a debit, in which criteria they will use. Then there are degree with national selective entry. This is decided by the Ministry of Education. So the Ministry of Education will decide the number of places for medicine, which will be allocated each year for these degree courses. usually consulting universities, and will decide on the structure and the content of the test. So each year, before the university can publish the regulation of this type of national test, they have to wait for the information sent out by the Ministry of Education. And once the Ministry of Education establishes the date when the test will be taken, the number of questions, the structure, the syllabus, the number of places, and this is a national selective test. To give you an idea, yearly in Italy, for example, for medicine, approximately 60,000 students apply. This is an approximation for more or less 10,000 places available. So you can see how competitive it is, and how restrictive and selective this national test is. But tomorrow we'll talk more about it. So here you have what I've just said about this test, that the admission exams are made in September, that there is a certain structure, and the content of the exam, of course, varies according to the chosen degree courses. This is from medicine and veterinary, which are very reputable studies in Italy, very, very good studies. Then there is a TOLC testing system. So the TOLC I, TOLC E, TOLC SU, all sorts of TOLC. And those are online computer-based administered tests. And most Italian universities require students to take this TOLC test for most of their faculties. The TOLC I test is the most used for example, engineering, scientific courses, and they are becoming increasingly popular. Tomorrow we'll talk to you about also the Italian language test, which is also starting from last year, TOLC based, in case it is needed. And these are usually multiple choice tests. So all the admission tests are multiple choice, of course. And then universities have their own testing system, because we like things complicated. So we have, for certain degree courses, a national test, usually for the one cycle degree. Then we have admission test, which can be selective. It depends on the test. It depends what the university decides, which are computer-based, and it's TOLC. Usually it's a TOLC test, which is done on a special platform run by CISIA, as we see before. And then universities itself have their own test. For example, let's take a study like engineering. 37 university use the TOLC I test for engineering. 2 universities use their own test: Politecnico di Milano, Politecnico di Torino. These tests are completely different. Milano has 65 questions, Torino has 42 questions. Torino, starting from this year, has added also a technical question on IT technology, for example, which Milano does not have, because in the 65 question, the focus is in math. So as you can see, each university they can run admission tests in a different way. So, but as I said, we will look at these details more in detail to this tomorrow. 10 things you should always do when you talk about the test. Always check the call to admission. It's a difficult read, but keep it there and read it in small bits. We too, that are used to read this call to admission, we find it at times difficult. At times I have to take notes when I read it, because I don't quite understand the passages, because the language is not easy, not in Italian and not in English. But it's important to check the number of places, the deadline of the test, what is needed to enroll, when to do it, what you need to pay, because the exams are not always for free. You have to pay a small fee to do the exam. How is the test is structured? How much time do you have? What is the grading system? What is the minimum score required to have a debit or not have a debit? When is the test ranking published? Make sure that all the documents required are ready if you need to upload something beforehand, before registering for the test. And there are also the deadlines when the ranking is published, when you need to finalize your enrollment or accept your placement. So this is always important to have a checklist of the admission test, but we'll see that tomorrow. You should always have a plan A and a plan B. This is always important so that you're not lost if something goes wrong, because something may go well. So everything goes well, but you never know. And then we come to talk about another aspect, which is very important, is the university fees and financial aid. So both public and private university have financial aid to support students. There are merit scholarship, there are financial aid based on family income, there are lots of grants, there are even European funding. So, you know, check all the possibilities. And today that you're listening to the various presentation of the university, you will be able also to get this information. For financial aid, this is a little bit complicated. It's based on the family income. So your income, the family income, the assets that you have. So, so you have, there is something that is called ISE, which is something that gives headaches to people when we talk about it. So, but each region has a certain amount of money, which is given to all higher institution education to help students with a narrow income range to be able to pay for the university. So this is one thing. So this is the ISE, this document, this assessment of the income, which you can do exactly like an Italian, is something that helps you to understand what tuition fee you will be paid. And it can be discounted based on the income. The range is between more or less 23,000 yearly family income to 30,000, at times it's 50,000. You have to check with the university in order to have a fee reduction. If your family earns less than 23,000, there is a no tax base. I mean, you pay only the, I don't know, the state taxes and you don't pay for it. But if it was between 23 and say 30,000, you can have a discount. You can pay up to a discount up, which can be like almost 80% of the tuition fee. Then it always increases depending on the range. To calculate, you know, what is the average income of your family, there is a whole process of documents which need to be prepared. But all universities have an office, a specialized office for this, where you can call them, see when you need to prepare the documents, upload them, and then you have time. It is not something that you have to do immediately. It is something that you do during your first semester, because you will pay a basic fee, and then the reduced fee starts from your second semester.
Georgia, excuse me.
Yeah,
I need to mention that the presentation of Politecnico di Milano is starting in 2 minutes.
Yes, I will.
Everybody who's are interested to join in this presentation should go to the next link.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one more thing to mention again, that quite a lot of the participants have had some issues with entering the presentation. It's a technical problem that is not existing with all the other presentations. We have just checked this, and all the other presentations are not affected of this problem. They can enter without any problems to the other presentations. So once again, the next presentation of Politecnico di Milano is starting in 2 minutes.
Okay, so I think I gave you an overview, and then we will meet again tomorrow in the afternoon at 3:30, and there we will continue with presenting the admission tests and the various admission tests. Now enjoy the presentation of the various university. I see that there are questions in chat, but we can do the question time tomorrow. We'll have more time for it. So thank you very much for your attendance, and goodbye.
Just to say bye. just to say bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. I tried to answer some questions, but it's really not fun. It was like a chaos. Okay, I'm going to the next presentation and yeah. Okay, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Beh. Sei silenziatissima.
Ti salutano perché non so se stanno registrando.
Ok.
Poi ci sentiamo per un WhatsApp. Non so se registrano, capito?